Hey everyone, thanks for dropping in today. We'd like to go over some best practices for teams for you today. And I have my friend Eric Dosman in the background. He's going to kind of help us with some stuff here and there. So what we'd like to do is just kind of give you a little bit more information about some best practices and how to use Teams more efficiently. One of the first ones is there's a like button here in Teams. So if you kind of notice here, if I hover over my message, I get a bunch of emoticons. There's a thumbs up, a heart, a laughing face, kind of wow or surprised, a sad one, and then a mad one. Typically, your more emotional emoticon should be used for people that you know really well. But this little thumbs up like icon, I would just use that freely. So if you're sending a message to somebody where I say, hey, Eric, how are you doing today? Eric might say something in response like, I'm doing okay. And I might say something in response like, okay, I just wanted to let you know that there was something in the fridge for you. So if I were to receive that message, I would probably just give Eric a thumbs up just to say, hey, got your message, thumbs up, sounds good. What happens sometimes if you acknowledge messages by saying okay or thanks or whatever other acknowledgement it is that you want to use, what happens is your chats get really kind of cluttered up with those acknowledgement messages. So if I were Eric, what I would do in the future next time is I would just kind of give a little bit of a thumbs up just to say, hey, excellent, got your message, thanks. And then I would just kind of move on from there. Another kind of best practices is making sure that you at people in channels to get their attention. So if I was trying to get a hold of Eric like I did just now, he wouldn't really know that I was trying to get a hold of him unless he was monitoring this channel. So kind of think of channels in Teams like email. So if I send an email to somebody, email's not going to really reach out and say, hey, you sent over this message, you need to take a look at it. A lot of times people need to be a little bit more overt to make that happen. So the way to make that happen is I would kind of at Eric if I needed to get his attention, because if I don't at him, it won't show up. And so I think here at some point, Eric's going to at me in another channel so we can kind of show you what those badge icons look like so that you can see what happens when somebody ats you in another channel. Another kind of message here after where we wait for the at to come up a little bit is using Teams for internal collaboration and using email for external communication. So if you'll note here over the ellipses, if I drop this down, I can get my channel's email address. If I were to click on that, I could just copy that email address there, close that up. So if I get an email from a client, and this happens a lot for us, I can forward that email over to Teams, have that conversation in Teams, and then pop back over to email and reply out to our client. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'm sure everybody who's listening to this has had that happen where you get 6 or 7 people on an email chain, and now suddenly you've got 65 emails in your inbox, people having back and forth conversations, some people missing the thread or missing the email, and they're not totally up to speed with what's going on, or you always have that one guy that kind of sends an email 20 minutes after everybody's had the conversation, and he's a little bit late to the game. So I, in particular, find this tip to be very, very helpful, this best practice to be very helpful. One, it keeps your email really clean. Two, it also helps to kind of keep that thread of communication going in an organic way versus an email. So you'll notice here, Eric added us. So what's important about the adding is a couple of things happen. So one, I get this little activity badge icon up here that says, hey, something's happened. Two, I get this little @ symbol here, and that means that somebody has added something here in my team, so I need to take a look at it. So I would click that and scroll down a little bit, and I notice here in the general channel, something has caught my attention. And if I click here in new messages, that'll kind of drop us down. And you'll notice Eric now is trying to get a hold of us. So I have my activity up here. Let me know 2 things happened. One, Eric replied to the original message that I was asking him about. But two, Eric's now trying to get a hold of me. So I can say, you know, sure, what's up? But you notice this little @ symbol is where Eric is now trying to get a hold of me. So what's going to happen is on Eric's side, he's going to see an activity. So something similar to Eric replied, or in his case, it'll say Brittany replied. Another one is just to make sure you set up some basic governance. Most of the best practices that I've read said something about, you know, depending on your team, your channel, and the group that you're working with, just meet for like 30 minutes when you set up your channel and try to figure out what it is that you guys want to have in terms of best practices. There's another group in our office that I work with called Client Solutions. And within our Client Solutions group, we've kind of come up with some basic governance. You know, for example, we create a channel when we have activities that are specific and outside of kind of that general channel, which brings me to about the general channel is just making sure that you keep this channel clear for any more general topics or announcements about your team versus topic-specific items. So for us in particular, we created a channel for brown bags. So our office often does learning sessions that we call brown bags. And we realized we were having a lot of conversation around those inside the general channel. Realized that we probably needed to create a channel specific to those so that we could have that conversation without kind of cluttering up those more general announcements. Outside of that also was a suggestion to have a fun stuff channel. So a lot of times people are sending kind of memes back and forth, or they want to talk about television shows, or they want to have a side conversation that's not about any specific work activity. And one of the suggestions was to create a channel where people could do that, because you'll notice that these memes kind of take up a lot of space here. And if I'm in a general channel or a productive work channel and I have to sift through 10 memes in order to get to the latest message or the thing that I care about, you can notice that that would get a little bit cumbersome to have to sift through. And the last one is to create a wiki or use your wiki as your about page. So up at the top here, you'll notice we have all of our tabs. And if I click on this wiki, if I expand this, I kind of just have the title of my document being the demo team. And then within it, I've kind of got the about the demo team. So this could be where you want to kind of maybe list your team's purpose, your ground rules, or any other information here in the wiki. It's good for if you have visitors to your team, for them to get a little bit more information about your team. Also, if they want to just get a little bit more information about the specific channel that they're on, that's very helpful to kind of use for them. So I think that's just about everything. We just wanted to go over a few best practices. I appreciate everybody dropping in. I think we mentioned in our last vlog that we're going to have more of these throughout the year, just little tips and tricks and more information about some of the brown bags that are happening in the office. So again, we really appreciate you dropping in and hearing a little bit more about what we have to share, and we hope that you continue watching our vlog series more in the future. Thanks so much.